Dun, dun, dun. We are live. Hey everybody, it's Suze, and you're joining me live in the Style Lab, where we solve all of your style, fashion, and outfit conundrums when it comes to getting dressed every day in comfort and ease and joy, whether you are going to an office, still working from home, a hybrid, date night, girlfriends, coffee, whatever it is, getting dressed every day, removing that overwhelm of what to wear, and really leveraging the hidden joy in your closet. I love helping women feel and look confident in their clothes every day, so that you really use your time the best, right? And you have that confident showing up on brand wherever you go. So thanks for joining us. We have a very special show today in honor of spring at St. Patrick's Day. I've got a little green on here. Is that tomorrow? I think it's tomorrow. So every Wednesday at 12:30 Central, we go live here in the club. And I'd love for you guys to share your questions about what our content is today. So I have the amazing Briana Gray in the green room right now. And she calls herself the Paradigm Coach. I love it. And she is an Enneagram expert. So Brianna helps women illuminate their habitual ways of thinking and being, so that they can break free from old patterns that aren't serving them and expand towards their goals of self-confidence and strengthen their relationships and develop their leadership skills. Oh my gosh, all this good stuff that ties right in with your personal style and your personal image. And super excited to bring her on. And we're gonna have some great questions. So with that, I will bring her on. Let's add Brianna. There she is. Welcome to the show. Hey, darling, how are you today?
I'm doing great, and it's so good to be here. I just think what you do is so wonderful, and just how you help streamline for your clients. I just think it's so great and so needed, especially when you're trying, like you said, to be on brand and to show up as that person that you want to be. So I love it.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, super, super excited. So as my guests know, when I find an amazing resource for that growth and expansion, whether it's, the best fitting jeans or a resource to help them get through whatever it is they might be stuck with, I love to share. So that's why I like to do these interviews here in my office. It's different from when I do my live styling in my closet. So Brianna is there in her home in Kansas City, and we're going to just kind of get into talking to Brianna. I want her to expand a little bit more on how she helps women. I did get to work with her, and I'll share that with you guys too, a little bit of my insights that I got to learn from Brianna. But I do want her to kind of, in her own words, tell us how she got into this and a little bit more about how she helps. So please let us know.
All right. Well, thanks, Suze. Okay, so yeah, how I got into this was several years back. Somebody introduced us to the Enneagram, and my husband, who will not read a marriage book, does not want to do any kind of marriage conference or the like. We took this test, and because it was his idea, not mine, we both got typed, and we realized by learning more about our number, because you end up with a number from 1 to 9, it was so impactful in our marriage. It was one of the most impactful things that we've experienced in our marriage. And that's what started the journey of me looking into it more and reading about it more. And once you find out what number you are, then you want everybody around you to also find out their numbers, because it helps you understand yourself first and foremost, but then it helps you understand where your loved ones are coming from. And it just gives a greater compassion for the people that are in your life, and just a better understanding of that.
Gosh, that's so true. I love that you got to do that together with your husband. Matter of fact, Brianna did type Joe, my husband, as well. I was really surprised too by his number, I don't know, I was expecting something different, but I was actually surprised by mine too. How, really quickly though, do you have to be like a certain age? Like, can you type kids, or is there a certain age that you recommend and above?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think at least that teenager, maybe 15, 16.
Mm-hmm.
There's kind of two schools of thought on that about,
Mm-hmm.
not typing kids. But I think, once
Mm.
they're 15, 16, most kids do kind of have these characteristics that
Mm-hmm.
they're born with. So the idea behind the Enneagram is you're your number when you're born.
Mm-hmm.
And then depending on how that might be nurtured or not nurtured in certain ways, that can look different throughout your life. Just like
Mm.
for those of you out there that have multiple kids, you understand that even when they're in the same household, they have different personalities from the start.
Yeah.
And so that's the idea, is that you could still type. So I kind of in my mind know my kids' numbers, and it just
Mm-hmm.
helps me as I parent and think about
Mm.
where they're coming from and how they're wanting to be loved and how they're handling
Mm.
conflict. All of those things make it more helpful for me as a mom, but eventually I want them to be able to come to that number themselves as well.
Right. Oh my gosh. I would argue actually that you would know their type even in utero. Only because like I have maybe only because I have twins and I was able to compare because I had two blobs, right? But Rowan from the beginning was baby A. I won't spend too much time on this, but baby B, this is the way they do it with the ultrasounds. And baby B never moved, and that was Vincent. And we knew the name Vincent when we went in for the 5 months ultrasound, and that's why we knew the name. And I literally never moved. I was like, dude, what's going on? Because I knew we found out they were both boys. But Rowan was always moving. Shh, 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 shh. Even and then when he was born, he was the spaz, and still is in the nicest way. Love them both of them. But it's so. It's so true. I like their numbers went before they're born. So going off of that, can you tell us a little bit difference between the Enneagram, which is kind of a mouthful, right? I had to practice saying that. Enneagram. Enneagram. Thank you. I was still saying it wrong.
It's okay. I might be.
It's like typing entrepreneur. When I type it, I mean, I don't know. Is there something about a 7 that is slightly? It's the scattered part, maybe slightly dyslexic. I don't know. But I'm a terrible speller. Does that fit in with an Enneagram?
That's interesting because I feel like I'm always waiting for the computer to figure out what I'm trying to say, but I'm not sure if that's number specific.
Thank God for Grammarly, right? Because it's always good to see my spelling. But yeah, tell us the difference between your type of typing. Now I'm afraid to say the word. That's so funny.
The Enneagram.
Enneagram. Tell us the difference between that and other types of personality typing tools.
Yes. Thank you. So first of all, the Enneagram has been around thousands of years.
Ooh.
There's some question out there. I mean, for sure, a couple thousand, and there's some question how old it really is. So it's not a new age personality test. It's something that is really, the test of time, if you will. And the biggest difference between the Enneagram and other personality tests is that other personality tests in general will just tell you the what you are, who you are. Meaning your characteristics and your behaviors and that kind of thing. The Enneagram actually focuses on why. So when you find out your number, you find out, why do you approach conflict the way that you do? Why do you approach your relationships the way that you do? So it still tells you, general characteristics that you're likely to have. But by knowing your why, you're more likely to be able to expand on who you're being and wanting to become, right? Because if we just know the what and we don't know why, it's harder to change those things about us or evolve the things about us that we want to evolve. And so by knowing the why, it's kind of getting to the root of it, right? The root of why we go back to these habitual ways of, responding or reacting or being. And so when we know that why and we have that awareness, we're able to expand from there in a better, more natural way.
Gosh, okay, so that is really helpful to help just think about like the things that you're doing. Like we talk about habits, whether they're beneficial or non, right? And a lot of times we think about, okay, well, this is the way we learned it, like this is the way things were done in our family, which there's that component. It's always that nurture-nature combo, right? But to get at a deeper level, that's really interesting to me. Because that is what's really going to solve some of the issues of, well, I'm working on this, but how am I going to work on it, right? Because once you know why you're doing things the way you're doing them, then you can start to, I guess, really make a difference, right? In like how you go about things. Like, for example, I got to work with Brianna, and we went through the process, which maybe I'll have you go through quickly too. It's not painful. Actually, it didn't take that long to go through. It was like a questionnaire. So even while I was doing the questions, I knew, and I didn't go into too much research about what the numbers were, but I vaguely knew what the numbers were. And I was like, I'm going to be a 7. I'm pretty sure. Sure enough, I was a 7. And at first I was like, not sure. Not sure I really like being a 7, but I am, which all the things about me, like I'm very excitable, and I'm spontaneous and optimistic, outgoing. There was a couple other
Super
ones
fun.
too. Fun, like to be in entertainment mode. I felt this high energy, but which all made sense, right? But it was the part that I learned the most that was most helpful for me was when I get into conflict, like what are the circumstances that are going on and what happens to me. And so that's, being scattered, distracted, restless, because I get bored easy. And that explains too, like some of my, I guess how I dress and show up. Like that explains that too, because I'm really fun and I'm very feminine, bohemian, and I like to have a lot of flair, and I don't like to wear the same thing twice. I rarely do, unless I'm like running late. I'm like, oh, that one outfit works. But that creative part of me, right? That explains it. But yeah, the part about being in conflict, that was really fascinating to understand, like, okay, when things are not going my way, I'm going to be distracted. I'm going to feel, I'm going to have demands. And that's where I'm really evolving. And to this year, my keywords are curiosity and expansion, because I always want to grow. And I'm growing my business, and being in demand, expecting that people and circumstances be a certain way, or the way that I want it, will always come back to like frustrate me, right? And I don't want to use those words of frustration and overwhelm.
Yeah. And I think that you put it well, just like how even knowing what you do in conflict or when things get tough, right? And every number responds a little differently. So, for a 7, I think you said it well that, maybe because I'm also a 7, I don't know if you mentioned that, but maybe we cover it with something fun or plan the next adventure or things like that. And so sometimes just having that awareness and you see yourself going there and you just see it in a different way, you realize, I'm trying to avoid that thing that I actually need to do or confront or deal with rather than dealing with it. And so now that I have that awareness piece, I can decide to not be that. I can decide to deal with that thing I need to deal with or do the thing I'm not really feel like doing.
So true. No, I didn't mention that you're also a 7, which of course I was so excited to hear that you're also a 7. Like, yeah, of course. That's why we bond so easily. I think. I mean, exactly. Sevens normally like each other, right?
Yeah, we like our energies. Yeah, the fun.
I know. Oh, cool. Let's see. We did have a comment that and again, it's I don't know the name because Facebook user, but that we both she's thanking us that we both look pretty. Oh, thanks. It's always nice we made the effort. That's what it's all about, right? Is like that circular motion of inside and outside, feeling good on the inside and the outside. But there was another question I wanted to ask. Well, we kind of are kind of circling around it, but why it's so helpful to know your number for business. So, yeah, maybe drilling into business, because we kind of focused on family and our personal life.
Yeah. So for business specifically, there's usually things that can be like blocking us. I'll call them like blockers, right? Like when people are like, I feel like I'm trying and I don't know what it is that's holding me back. And sometimes it's just hard to have that awareness within ourselves. And by knowing your number, like for example, what might be holding a 1 back is a self-critic. They have an inner critic that is typically very loud, telling them that maybe they're not good enough or it's not perfect enough. And they get stuck in trying to perfect it before they put it out there. And so sometimes that's a trip up for a 1. For a 2, it might be that they're thinking about what everybody else is thinking of them because they're very concerned with how they're being perceived by others. So rather than saying, what do I want? They're like, well, what does everybody else want me to be? And so when you learn those blockers for those numbers, I mean, I haven't talked to somebody yet that doesn't resonate with that blocker. Once they find out their number and we talk about those things that can be holding you back, every single person I've talked to is like, yes, that is the thing. And so it helps people because if you're going after a goal, you might think I need to do these 20 things to go after this goal, right? And when you find out your number, it really narrows in, okay, this is probably what is tripping you up. And if you work on your self-confidence, then everything else is going to improve, right? Where you work on making decisions quicker. Like a 9 is known for maybe not knowing what to decide. I could do this, I could do this, I could take it here. And so they have a harder time making those big decisions. So then we say, okay, that's where we need to start. We need to start with learning to make better decisions and making them quicker. And so by changing those couple things, then people really see that block like unleashed, if you will, and they can reach their goals faster.
Yeah. Oh, I love unleashed. Unleashing those blocks.
Unleash it.
Get rid of those blocks. This is so enlightening, Brianna. I just love talking to you. I love hearing the deeper, because it's interesting to me to know as well, like business partners or strategic partners or clients.
Yes.
What number they are. I can like understanding the types. Not that I'm going to tell them to go get typed, but of course I will with you. But it's something that would help me understand how best to reach them, what their resistance might be. You know, I can look back on clients that I didn't feel really applied the strategies that I was trying to teach them, and kind of understand like, oh, that's because they are a certain type maybe. So I can definitely see how that can help with even just vetting clients, you know.
Yes.
So yeah, if you are someone who like right now, I have a waiting list because I've got so many people that want to work together, but just with everything changing and people going back to work and people who are putting off getting help are like, I can't wait any longer. And so that's a helpful tool too for me to even vet people. Right? So
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, even in what you do, a couple things. I mean, you might have a number that you're going to realize like taking options and letting them have the final say might be the best thing for them, or other numbers that are like, just tell me what to do. Just hand it to me. I'll buy whatever you say.
Yes.
And so I think there's helpful things in that. And I know that we alluded to some fun of certain numbers, like a 1, for example, likes more in general, likes more like straight line things. They want to be a little more proper in general, not to stereotype the numbers. Whereas like a 4, which is the individualist or the artist, is going to want to have a individual type of style. They want something that's going to stand out a little bit and be different than the norm. And so we've had some fun talking about how even the number can determine sometimes the style that they're going for.
For sure. Yeah. Matter of fact, then I can mention that you guys have to stay tuned. We'll probably do another interview because Brianna and I are working on a Type Your Style guide, which will be fun to develop a chic look for each type. Like we said, like you mentioned, you can kind of already sort of get an idea of, we've got about like 4 of them we've already started on. It's so exciting and fun. So we're going to be working on that. So stay tuned for updates on that. And, it's Jen Piala who was commenting. But guys, we're going to wrap up. Hey, Jen. We're going to wrap up, but if certainly please put your questions in the comments if you're watching later. And we're going to ask Brianna to also put her contact information into comments and show notes so that you know how to reach her and follow her. And what is the best way to connect with you, Brianna?
Yeah, probably just email at this point, and I'll put that in the comments. It's Brianna@julieciardi.com, and I'll just put that in the comments so that you can just go there directly and just reach out, even if you just have questions about it, or if you're curious about what your number might be. We could have fun, getting you typed as well and talking to you about how that can change your relationships and your business and all of that too.
Oh my gosh.
So thank you, Suze, for having me.
Very, very cool. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, my darling, for coming on the show and enthusiastically, number 7, letting us get a better insight into how you help women get out of their own way for business and for their personal lives. So I just so enjoyed having you here, and I know everybody else did too. So I'm looking forward to working with you some more, because I do need to circle back now that I know the number and to go a little deeper into some of your strategies. So looking forward to that.
I love it.
All right, guys. Well, have a lovely day. And we will see you guys all next week on the next show. I have my Build a Capsule Wardrobe workshop coming up. So I'm going to be doing just some fun little intros to that in the next 2 weeks, because the workshop starts April 4th. So please join us for that. There's a link to sign up, and I'll put it into the comments as well. So I know Brianna's going to join. She's interested in making a capsule wardrobe. Who isn't? All right, darling. Well, have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye, guys. Bye, everybody.